Hi everyone, I'm Dom Griffin. I'm a film critic and you're watching the Armchair Auteur. This is an ongoing video series I do where we talk about new movies, old movies, screenplay analysis, that sort of thing. So if you like movies, you care about film culture, and you like to see people pick it apart, please consider subscribing. Today we're going to be reviewing a movie called Boss Level, starring Frank Grillo and Mel Gibson, and it is written and directed by Joe Carnahan, the guy that brought us Smoking Aces. This is going to be a little bit of a weird review in the sense that I didn't know when I was watching the movie that it wasn't really out, but I've already watched it and I already kind of planned to review it, so I'm just doing it. To explain, Boss Level is a movie that was made in 2018 and was supposed to come out in 2019, and the studio that had bought the US distribution rights dropped it, and it's just been sitting in limbo, fully completed for a while now. It was at a festival at the beginning of the year, but it has not had real release. Yesterday I saw on a piracy site, at the same time I saw a news story from Deadline about how Hulu had bought the movie and was going to be distributing it on Hulu. So I assumed it was just up on Hulu, and I watched it the bad way, and then I discovered that Hulu's not releasing it until the beginning of next year, and the reason it's online and so many people on Twitter are talking about it is because I think it was released to the French version of Amazon Prime or something, so it's out there, if you're a VPN person or whatever, but it's not, really out there. So that said, if you're the kind of person that does not want to see a review for a movie that they can't even really ethically or whatever see, then feel free to just watch list this until it's actually out and you can just check it out later or whatever. But for the rest of you, we're going to talk about Boss Level. So my main interest in Boss Level, outside of my undying devotion to watching Frank Grillo punch people in the face, is that I'm actually kind of a pretty big fan of writer-director Joe Carnahan. I feel like nowadays Carnahan has a bit of a bad rap because of his former penchant for arguing with critics and people on Twitter, and for his last few movies underperforming financially. But outside of his awkward, try-hard Tarantino knockoff film debut, Blood, Guts, Bullets, and Octane, which I kinda actually really did like, every movie he's made has done it for me. I've seen all his features except The Gray because it just looked like The Edge, but with Liam Neeson.
What one man can do, another can do.
You can't kill the bear, Charles.
No, I'm gonna kill the bear.
I think Narc is one of the best cop movies ever made. Smoking Aces falls apart in the end, but is a real blast. And hell, I even think his A-Team movie is severely underrated. But Boss Level, a movie pitched kind of like John Wick meets Groundhog Day, is a time loop movie coming out at what feels like the height of time loop movies. The Groundhog Day paradigm has never been more du jour, but Boss Level, more so than any repeating day movie outside of the superior Edge of Tomorrow, fully embraces the video game elements of the premise, as one might be able to tell from the title. Frank Grillo plays Roy Pulver, a former Special Forces badass estranged from his scientist ex-wife, played by Naomi Watts, and their son who doesn't even know he's his father. Roy is trapped in a time loop where an army of colorful characters are trying to kill him, and even though repeating the day has given him something of an edge on their onslaught, he still never makes it past noon. But as the day repeats, he learns his ex-wife has been killed by her evil boss, played by Mel Gibson, whose right-hand man is played by Sasso for some reason, and that her death is related to a machine she created called the Osiris Spindle, a sci-fi MacGuffin that might be responsible for Roy's predicament. Without spoiling too much, Carnahan and his co-writers Chris and Eddie Borey use this framework for three primary aims. One, to create an action movie that doesn't have to waste time setting up pretense for each of its many action scenes, as the setup is explained via voiceover almost immediately. It allows for an easy injection of thrills anytime the narrative gets bogged down by its secondary aim, which is to create a mystery about the time loop itself and the murder of his ex-wife, which does lead to a somewhat ponderous tone at odds with the movie's kinetic energy. It's necessary to slow things down because 90 straight minutes of Frank Grillo fucking up goons and getting killed by assassins might not be as fun as it sounds on paper, but I do feel at times to let things get a little bit too serious, which doesn't play well with how over the top the rest of the movie feels. Except, of course, when it relates to their third aim, which is to use the time loop to give Roy a chance to get to know the son he's never fully bonded with, because he was always away on Delta Force missions or whatever. It's the part you'd least expect to work well within this story, but Carnahan has always been pretty good at macho sincerity, and it gives Grillo a chance to flex his chops. I usually hate when fun, dumb action flicks get bogged down by trying to tap into their emotions, but I will say the third act here does a fantastic job of exploring something genuine. That it does so as sort of a meta-commentary and a counterpoint to the games of the film's first half is pretty fantastic. Even the things I don't like about the movie sort of work for me. Roy's character is presented as a particular kind of oblivious necessary to make the narrative function, but Grillo wraps it up with a charm that negates how annoying that is. The effects are pretty fake looking and definitely less believable than you'd expect for the film's budget, but it feels like a choice and lends to the idea that Roy is trapped in a video game, which blends well with the way he ends up bonding with his son. And honestly, the overt game mechanics approach is a little cloying at times, but it's genuinely useful since the narrative is non-linear and it helps keep track of where Roy is in the journey. Honestly, if I actually did have any real complaints about the movie, it's probably the fact that it uses such omnipresent voiceover narration, and that voiceover narration at times reaches sort of Ryan Reynolds' self-awareness territory that I'm pretty fucking sick of. But again, even then, it helps the narrative work, and it's largely fun, and it's part of a good time. It's truly a shame that this movie didn't get a normal theatrical release last year when it was supposed to, before like COVID and everything happened, because I think it would have actually connected with people pretty well. It might have made like a ton of money, but I think it would have been like a modest hit at the very least. And, you know, it might have been successful enough to help Joe Carnahan get back on the path that his earlier films seemed to set him on towards. Like, he at one point seemed like a guy who was going to become like a really big filmmaker, and has since kind of like languished in this like mid-budget tier. And he's a really talented guy. I think he's a lot more talented than a lot of the people that have like rose to prominence since he hit the scene. So maybe once it actually hits Hulu and it is more widely available to people, maybe it will do just that. But I mean, you know, at this point, who knows? For my fellow unscrupulous people, you all know where to find Boss Level if you do want to see it after watching this video. And for the regular folks out there, it will be on Hulu in like the next few months, most likely. Or maybe they'll up the timetable because of the widespread leak, who knows? But, you know, whatever you're able to, or however you choose to be able to see Boss Level, it's definitely worth watching. It's really fun. It's one of the better action movies I've seen in recent memory. And it ends in such a way that we might even get a sequel. So that's kind of cool, right? Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope everyone's doing well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get new notifications when I put out new videos. And leave a comment about what you guys think about Frank Grillo. He's really cool, right? He always looks like he's angry, but he's like smiling sometimes and he punches people. That's pretty dope. Everyone stay safe, be good to each other and yourselves, wear your masks. Have a great day.